Yeah, we have some lessons to learn. It's certainly a sad situation. So, if you have not heard about the situation, Anne Heche was in a terrible car crash on August 5th, and it ended up in her being in a coma. She ended up being taken off life support on August 14th. So, Anne Heche is survived by two kids. Um, One is a 20-year-old she had with a, gentleman, way back when, so he's 20. His son is his name is Homer, and then she also has another son, his name is Atlas, and he was from a relationship with a gentleman named James Tupper. So, what happened was Anne didn't have a will, right? No will. Um, and so we have to figure out what to do next. And this last just a few weeks ago, very recent, is they had a hearing about who is going to take care of the minor child, which is Atlas. So the two people that were fighting it out was James Tupper, the father of Atlas, versus Homer, the half brother of Atlas, and he's 20, like we said. Um, and it turns out that James was actually already like estranged, or they were separated already. Anne Heche was not with him. They had a really acrimonious breakup and divorce in 2018. So it's been a while. And I allegedly there was some abuse. So they were kind of like, nope, he would not be the right um, guardian for this 13-year-old boy. And really, a judge would typically choose the natural parent, right? So James really would be the typical person that the judge would choose because you have a surviving parent, and that should be the person that's chosen as the guardian. But they apparently looked at all the different circumstances and his history of his relationship with Anne and lots of different things. I'm sure it was a hard decision. And then Homer was also represented, and he's the brother, and he's a legitimate adult, obviously, at 20 years old. And he felt that Atlas was better off being with him and him being raised by his brother. So Homer did win a couple weeks ago. He was chosen as the main guardian for now, named the guardian for Atlas. And he was actually chosen too as a temporary administrator of the estate. What does that mean? Well, it means that he's also in charge of the money, which is huge because certainly we have money and then we have raising a child. So, really important to kind of separate the two because raising a child is one aspect of dealing with the estate, and then managing that money is so crucial. They're intertwined, but they're also separate issues. And so now Homer is the person who is going to be getting all that money released and figured out, and then obviously take care of his brother, his younger brother. What are the 3 of the lessons? I'm just there's lots of lessons. My gosh, when I heard about the car crash, I just thought about I my heart goes out to anyone who's a mom who passes away, and now you have a minor child, or any children for that matter. And so my first instinct was, man, I hope she had a will. I hope that the right people are going to manage the money and take care of the son. So she didn't have a will, right? So lesson number one it's not it's our mantra here is have a will, have a trust, have something written down so that you could decide on who gets this money upon your death. And this is an exact example of people who assume that death is way ahead of them. I'm young because she's only in her 50s. I'm young. I don't need a will yet. It'll be fine. And here it happens where she passes this way, and she didn't have a will, didn't have a trust. There was an email allegedly. They were fighting over an email that she wrote that said that she wanted a certain person be the administrator, or, just be in charge of everything. And they tried to bring it in court, and the judge nixed it pretty quickly because there's no signature on an email and certainly would not qualify as a will. So Have a will, have a trust, have something written down. Particularly in California, I know they have a very strict rules about probate, and it's very expensive, more expensive than Illinois. Number two lesson to learn. So for this particular state is when you have minor children, absolutely name the guardian, name the people that's going to take care of this child. He was 13 years old. There's still a good 5 years that somebody has to watch over him, take care of him, make sure he's, you know, going to school and fed and dressed. Like, there's a lot involved, as any parent knows, a lot involved in taking care of your child. Make sure that person is the right person and that you've chosen this person. Um, Especially when she already had this tumultuous relationship with the father of this child, naming the right person because of that situation in itself is important. So that's number two lesson to learn. Number three is something that I get sad about too when I hear it on the news is that end of life decision. Right? I said she had the car crash on the 5th. She didn't die until the 14th. So we had a good amount of time where I'm sure the family was scrambling, wondering what to do with her. And when you're in a situation where the quality of life is just not going to be there, even if you continue to be fed or, be on machine life support. So I'm sure that the decision was not easy. I'm sure it was multiple family members putting in their opinions. Um, the lesson is when you're not sick, when you're healthy and have family around you, write down your wishes. Write it down, sign it, seal it, get it on paper. And then on top of it, I always tell clients to talk to your loved ones, the close ones, right? Obviously, if you're married, your spouse and adult children, or if you're not married, maybe a close sibling, close friend, somebody who kind of knows your wishes in case something happens to you. 'Cause I'm sure Anne didn't have anything written down in terms of just even a casual writing saying, "Here's what I would want in the event I'm in a terminal illness." It's not a fun topic. It's not something you'd wanna write down and do, but once you have it written down and you've at least told someone, "Hey, my instructions are here, go find them," the family will have at least a peace of mind that they're following instructions by you, by your wishes, as opposed to many people having too many opinions about this topic and maybe potentially keeping you on life support for months and years on end, which is what happened with Terry Schiavo. If you've heard of that, it was a Florida case. She was on life support for 13 years. If you don't want that and you want somebody to make the decisions, but you give them guidance through your own writing, then definitely write those out. So the three lessons to learn: have a will, if not a trust as well. Name guardians for minor children that you have, and even special needs children and disabled adults. Um, you need to name the guardian because it's important. And number three, have some instructions written down about end of life situations, terminal illness, whether you want to be kept on life support, and what circumstances around that topic. So far, those are the lessons to learn for Anne Heche. I'm sure it's an ongoing estate. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Because there's no will, the natural estate, the natural, typically the laws will say it goes to surviving children. So it will go to Homer and Atlas in equal shares. But we all know that people can still fight in court, and so who knows if anyone will try to come up and try to contest anything as well. So it's an ongoing situation, but I thought it's a good thing to kind of just remember we don't have that crystal ball of our lives of what's going to happen next. So better to plan ahead rather than have things happen um, that's not what you would have wanted. Right. So that is it. We hope that you learned something today from our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm Maritas Bott of Bott and Associates. If you have any questions and want to do some planning, give us a call or check out our website. Have a great day.